Fidel Castro could legitimately be regarded as either a hero or as a tyrant, or as both at the same time.
Em 1959, Fidel Castro subiu ao poder em Cuba.
Commander Castro, why are you leading a revolution?
Ele foi, desde então, uma das figuras mais controversas do mundo.
It is not the same to fight for liberty as to fight against it.
Um espinho político cravado no flanco dos Estados Unidos.
Our sympathy goes out to the people of Cuba, now suffering under the yoke of a dictator.
Esta é a história de Castro, contada através de notícias nos meios de comunicação.
Fidel Castro, face the nation.
Imagens raras.
I have to be careful.
E gravações.
And it is not an easy job to come here and to speak with you, the reporter of the United States.
Fidel Castro believed the CIA had been involved in a series of plots on his life.
Parte deste material nunca foi sequer emitido. Noutros casos, há décadas que não é visionado.
Do you believe that the democratic man ought to be afraid of any idea?
Dr. Castro, you are a lawyer, and I'm afraid I will have to act as a judge. We'd like you to answer our questions.
There are theories that you held President Kennedy responsible and that you were involved in his assassination. Did you have anything to do with it?
Commander, what handled it if you were caught?
I never would be Castro alive. Like Henry Adams, we say, give me liberty or give me death.
Cuba, finais dos anos 50. Para os turistas, esta é uma terra mágica e exótica. Casinos, restaurantes, hotéis de luxo, piscinas e quilómetros de praias imaculadas. A escassos 150 quilómetros dos Estados Unidos, Cuba é um local de recreio para os americanos. Porém, para muitos cubanos, a vida na ilha não é de todo um paraíso. No interior do país, longe das estâncias turísticas, a pobreza é profunda. Os sistemas de educação e de saúde são muito pobres. As condições de vida rivalizam com as de qualquer país do terceiro mundo. Muita da responsabilidade pela vasta dicotomia do país entre ricos e pobres pode ser atribuída a um homem: o presidente de Cuba.
Fulgencio Batista, former army sergeant, former general, holds the reins of power as backed by the army and by those who favor government by a strongman. Batista denies he is a dictator and says some of his opponents are pro-communist. But his strong arm methods and the constant threat of inflation have kept political opposition bubbling.
Os seus adversários calculam que durante o regime de Batista mais de 20 mil dissidentes políticos tenham sido mortos. As montanhas do leste de Cuba. Após anos de combates, é aqui que a febre revolucionária campeia através do dossel da floresta. Homens e mulheres pegaram em armas e iniciaram uma guerrilha sangrenta. Para eles, Batista destruiu Cuba. O objetivo é derrubá-lo do poder. O líder revolucionário é um cubano carismático que se afirma disposto a lutar até à morte para libertar o seu povo. O seu nome é Fidel Castro.
This is Dr. Fidel Castro, 31, holder of 4 university degrees. We finally get our news cameras into Castro's headquarters.
Os principais lugares-tenentes de Castro são Che Guevara, um argentino que havia participado numa revolução fracassada na Guatemala, e o irmão de Fidel, Raúl Castro, um comunista convicto. Fidel Castro é um de 7 irmãos, oriundo de uma família da média burguesia. Mesmo muito jovem, Castro é impetuoso e muito direto, não recuando perante nada. Castro frequenta um colégio interno de jesuítas e licencia-se em Direito pela Universidade de Havana. Deixa-se, entretanto, entusiasmar por filosofias nacionalistas. Em 1952, Castro candidata-se ao Congresso para ajudar a melhorar Cuba. Mas Batista sobe ao poder na sequência de um golpe militar antes da realização das eleições. Em resposta, Castro reúne um grupo de revolucionários anti-Batista e planeia um ataque ao quartel de Moncada. Fidel pensa que, ao tomarem o quartel, disporão de armas suficientes para iniciar um levantamento contra Batista. O assalto tem lugar no dia 26 de julho de 1953. Castro usará esta data, 26 de julho, para identificar a sua futura revolução. O ataque é rapidamente dominado. Muitos dos rebeldes são mortos. Castro e dezenas de outros são capturados. No julgamento, Castro enuncia uma frase que virá a defini-lo: "A história há de absolver-me." Fidel é condenado a 15 anos de prisão. 2 anos depois, Batista cede face à pressão internacional e liberta os presos políticos, incluindo Castro e todos os que atacaram o quartel de Moncada. Em 1958, voltam a reunir-se na Sierra Maestra para combater os soldados de Batista.
Commander Castro, why are you leading a revolution?
I am leading a revolution because the legal government of my country was overthrown by the army led by Batista. 82 days before a general election in which the people of Cuba was going to elect its own government. And instead of that, General Batista established a bloody tyranny. For finishing that tyranny and for re-establishing a legal government in my country, we are fighting now.
So what did you seek to accomplish in coming here, and what do you feel that you are accomplishing by being here in these remote mountains?
It is not the same to fight for liberty as to fight against it. All the people of the Sierra Maestra are with us. We have struck the start of the revolution. Batista does not want to admit that he is incapable of defeating us.
A liderança de Castro é rigorosa. Posiciona batedores ao longo das montanhas. Assim, os rebeldes sabem sempre onde estão os militares de Batista. Já estes não fazem a menor ideia onde Castro se esconde.
What is your political philosophy? Are you a communist or a Marxist?
There is not communism or Marxism in our ideas. Our political philosophy is representative democracy and social justice in a well-planned economy.
Até este momento, o governo dos Estados Unidos apoiou o regime de Batista. Mas com as atenções mundiais centradas nos excessos do ditador, os norte-americanos retiram-lhe o apoio. Os Estados Unidos não apoiarão nem Batista, nem os revolucionários de Castro.
The United States has embargoed arms for both sides. Occasional shipments are smuggled through from rebel sympathizers. It is an unequal battle of idealists against tough professional forces. Says Castro, if I lose, I'll start over again. If Batista loses, he loses for good. Cuba's strongmen seemed untroubled by Castro's mounting offensive. Behind Batista stand the army, the police, and apparently Cuba's labor unions. Batista seemed upset about reports in the American press of police brutality and corruption, but confident in the face of an unpredictable future.
Após meses de combates, as forças revolucionárias travam uma batalha de 3 dias antes de avançarem sobre Havana. Os derradeiros militares fiéis a Batista são expulsos da cidade. O esfarrapado grupo de rebeldes castristas, exaurido por 3 anos de incessantes combates, ataca a capital. A luta para derrubar Batista está prestes a chegar ao fim.
New Year's Eve in Havana. Fighting was reported in Las Villas province between the soldiers of Fulgencio Batista and rebel units. A few hours later, 4 a.m. Havana time, New Year's morning, a phone call. And the report Fulgencio Batista and his coterie had fled in surrender.
From his stronghold in the wild Sierra Maestre Mountains, Cuba's Fidel Castro emerged triumphant after 2 years of guerrilla warfare against the Batista regime. A revolution that began with Castro a fugitive, practically alone, landing with 82 followers, to be nearly wiped out by government forces, ended with the flight of dictator Fulgencio Batista and the entry into Havana of rebel forces to be acclaimed by the city. In his lifetime, the bearded cigar-smoking idealist has become a legend. For most Cubans, this is the first glimpse of the man whose name became a byword during 25 months of guerrilla fighting.
It's a simple matter to know when a revolution has begun. It's not so easy to know when a revolution has ended. This has been and is the revolution of Fidel Castro.
O povo cubano admira Castro porque a sua subida ao poder não advém de um golpe de Estado, mas de uma revolução popular. Castro é um orador brilhante, é convincente e cheio de entusiasmo.
He's abundantly endowed with the high confidence and the humility of a biblical prophet.
Fidel Castro with the dogs of peace sitting on his shoulders as he surveys the crowd that is tonight celebrating Cuba Libre.
Fidel Castro, face the nation. In the early hours of yesterday morning, this was the scene in a studio of television station CMQ in Havana, Cuba.
Dr. Castro, could you tell us what your opinion is of United States policy during this period of your revolution?
Do you want to tell you the truth?
That's all we want.
Do you see those Sherman tanks? Do you see those airplanes? Do you see those big bombs of 500 pounds? They were sold by government of the United States to Batista.
Apesar das críticas, Castro quer manter boas relações com os Estados Unidos. Mas tal não o impede de exercer violentas represálias a nível interno. Nos meses que se seguem à ascensão ao poder de Castro, centenas de seguidores de Batista são julgados, por vezes no Palácio dos Desportos de Havana.
Batista aide Major Sosa Blanco, charged with 200 murders, faces a military tribunal. 3 judges still wearing the revolutionaries' jungle battle dress. Says Blanco of the crowd, I am in a Roman Colosseum. 45 witnesses come forward to tell of acts of brutality and murder. Men, women, and children testified. The decision is death.
Quase 500 são considerados culpados. Serão executados por um pelotão de fuzilamento. Pouco depois das execuções, cerca de 1 milhão de cubanos assistem a um discurso de Castro em defesa das execuções, afirmando que nenhuma nação defendeu o povo do seu país durante as atrocidades do regime de Batista.
Palace was a miserable traitor, a criminal who killed over 20,000 of our compatriots. Those campaigns were never made against Cuba.
Num esforço para influenciar a opinião pública, Castro inicia, em abril de 1959, uma digressão por países da América do Norte e do Sul. Enormes multidões acorrem para ver Castro, que é agora um símbolo revolucionário. A sua reputação como líder populista cresce exponencialmente. Fidel Castro aceita um convite da Sociedade Americana de Editores de Jornais para visitar os Estados Unidos, ainda que os fiéis a Batista o queiram morto.
A tumultuous welcome for Fidel Castro. A cheering, singing, flag-waving crowd of thousands greets the Cuban revolutionary leader and premier, as on arrival he pushes past police and security guards to return the enthusiastic greeting, despite rumors of assassination plots against him.
Fidel é muito popular junto do público americano. Para além do enorme carisma, ele é visto como uma versão insular de Robin dos Bosques, que trouxe a liberdade a um povo oprimido. Mas apesar da popularidade de Castro junto da opinião pública americana, o governo desconfia das tendências comunistas dos revolucionários cubanos.
Outside Penn Station, police break up a demonstration by a few supporters of Cuba's ousted dictator Batista. And Castro, in a record slow time of 24 minutes, crosses the street to his hotel, almost swamped by the excited crowd. It's one of New York's most enthusiastic receptions for a visiting notable in quite a while.
Embora Castro condene os Estados Unidos por fornecerem armas ao governo de Batista, tenta fazer as pazes com a América.
I came here because I was invited for the editors. What happened is that here you in the United States are accustomed to see government coming from our money. No, I came for good relations, for good understanding, for good economical relations. We are now poor people but in a rich country. What we want is to work in our rich country.
Our guest likes rifles and cigars. But as a very young boy, he took up a typical Cuban sport, the breeding of fighting cocks. It is my pleasure to present to you Dr. Fidel Castro. You have said, sir, that dictatorship is impossible if public opinion approves. Did not Hitler, Mussolini, and Perón have public support?
We are against all kind of dictatorship. We are against all kind of dictator. That is our idea.
Mr. Prime Minister, what is your impression of Vice President Nixon?
I got really a good impression of the Vice President Nixon.
Nixon tem uma opinião diferente. Enquanto está em Washington, o presidente Dwight Eisenhower evita encontrar-se com Castro. Em vez disso, envia o vice-presidente Nixon à reunião com o líder cubano. A opinião de Nixon sobre Castro tem de ser vigiado cuidadosamente.
You won a revolution before, sir, against great odds. Now you're fighting what might be called a social revolution. Will this be more difficult?
Well, this is harder than the other, because when we were during the war, it was only a matter of fighting. Now it's a matter of produce and to create and to take care with all the matters of the country and all the cities.
Como o governo de Batista saqueou os cofres de Cuba, os líderes da revolução descobrem que não têm dinheiro suficiente para gerir o país. Embora o público americano tenha acolhido Castro, o governo dos Estados Unidos não confia nele, receando que seja comunista. E ainda que tenha inicialmente afirmado que o país não precisava da ajuda norte-americana, Castro apercebe-se de que Cuba não pode sobreviver no seu estado atual. Porém, os Estados Unidos recusam conceder a Cuba qualquer auxílio adicional. Em vez disso, Castro procura a ajuda da União Soviética, atiçando ainda mais as brasas da Guerra Fria entre soviéticos e norte-americanos.
In January 1960, the Soviet Deputy Premier, Anastas Mikoyan, came to Havana. The stage had been set for him. Mikoyan opened a Russian trade fair. He discussed deals with Cuba. By the time he had put this hat on his head, he had the Cuban economy in his pocket. In Moscow, an agreement was signed for the exchange of Soviet machinery and technicians for Cuba's sugar and other big money crops.
O presidente Eisenhower ameaça reduzir as cotas de importação de açúcar cubano. 1/3 desse açúcar é produzido por empresas sob controlo americano. Por seu lado, a União Soviética compromete-se a adquirir 1 milhão de toneladas de açúcar anualmente.
Fidel Castro, in a bitter anti-American speech last night, warned against the United States cutting Cuban sugar quotas, threatening to take over American-owned sugar mills. But the Rules Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives today cleared for floor action
a bill to give the president the authority he wants to reduce the marketing of Cuban sugar in this country.
Após um mês de escaramuças diplomáticas, Eisenhower proíbe todas as importações de açúcar cubano. Em contrapartida, Castro nacionaliza todas as empresas norte-americanas no país.
Tanto quedan nacionalizadas todas las empresas de la compañía eléctrica, todas las empresas de la compañía de teléfono, todos los bienes, por supuesto, y empresas de la Texaco y de la ESO. Y además, los 36 centrales azucareros que tenían.
Sugar by the trainload, the main crop and the main bone of contention with the USA. Many communist bloc countries have promised to take Cuban sugar in exchange for the things Castro needs. It looked easy, so I thought I'd cut a cane or two for Castro myself. You hold that, just like that, just there. Let me have a... Cut it that way. Oh, made it in one. Can I have that for a moment? You know, this could cost me my American visa.
Meses após a nacionalização das empresas americanas, as Nações Unidas ditam um embargo comercial a Cuba.
There is a limit to what the United States in self-respect can endure. That limit has now been reached. Our sympathy goes out to the people of Cuba, now suffering under the yoke of a dictator.
Secretamente, os Estados Unidos procuram um meio de afastar Castro do poder. Porém, os Estados Unidos não querem que sejam as suas próprias tropas a invadir Cuba. Em alternativa, o presidente John Kennedy permite que conselheiros militares norte-americanos deem informação a exilados cubanos. O objetivo é invadir Cuba numa pequena enseada no sul do país chamada Baía dos Porcos e afastar Castro do poder.
This is an NBC special news report.
Cuba tonight is an island in revolt. Against the revolutionary forces of Prime Minister Fidel Castro, another revolt has begun, and Castro's strange and wild career may be approaching an end. It is advisable to say maybe, because everything will depend on whether the people of Cuba and the army are loyal to Castro.
Dawn, Monday, April 17th, Day of Pigs, Cuba. The first units of the brigade reached the beach without opposition. Among them is Humberto Diaz Aguirre of the 2nd Battalion, H Company.
A soldier from the rear yelled, "We are an army of liberation. We came to fight communism." The militiamen answered, "Fatherland of death, long live Fidel Castro," and the shooting began.
The assault has begun on the dictatorship of Fidel Castro. Landings were effected by rebels at several places on the Cuban coast, and the rebellion against the Redskins dictator was on.
As tropas invasoras não recebem qualquer apoio do povo cubano, fazendo enfraquecer a esperança de vitória dos exilados. Mais de 1.400 militares exilados invadem a ilha. Dezenas deles são mortos e os restantes feitos prisioneiros.
At 3:45 p.m. Wednesday, April 19th, resistance ends. In less than 72 hours, Castro has destroyed the brigade. The American planned, financed, trained, and backed invasion of Cuba is now a total failure.
Para muitos cubanos, a revolução de Castro está errada desde o início. Mas a maioria não quer falar abertamente receando a prisão ou a morte.
Good evening. Each week, almost 2,000 Cubans find they have had enough of Castro, so they get out and come to Miami, Florida. The Cubans generally advocate a return home by military invasion with American help, but there is no evidence of any plan to try that again, so while they wait for something to happen, they just wait.
They want to stay here to help in any moment with a gun, with a rifle, to fight against Fidel Castro.
E são esses refugiados que relatam aos Estados Unidos que Castro concluiu um acordo com Nikita Khrushchev, da União Soviética. Os exilados afirmam que os soviéticos dão mais do que ajuda económica a Cuba. Trazem também armamento.
Just a few moments ago, White House Press Secretary Pierre Salinger indicated that Mr. Kennedy's remarks will concern a matter of the highest national urgency. We do know also that the President has been meeting with high officials of the government throughout this day in an atmosphere of near crisis. Okay, now we're ready. Hear from his office in the White House, the President of the United States.
This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere. I call upon Chairman Khrushchev to halt and eliminate this clandestine, reckless, and provocative threat to world peace.
Em resposta, os Estados Unidos iniciam um bloqueio naval à ilha, interceptando e revistando todas as embarcações que rumem a Cuba.
Havana Radio said tonight that Cuba's armed forces have been put on an immediate 24-hour alert following President Kennedy's speech.
This is his first public reaction to the American arms blockade, and Castro is bitterly angry. He said the United States undertook the blockade because all its other efforts to destroy the Cuban Revolution have failed.
Ni bajo ninguna otra podrá venir nadie a inspeccionar nuestro país. Nosotros sabemos lo que hacemos y sabemos cómo debemos defender nuestra integridad y nuestra soberanía. Y nuestra, de todos, de los revolucionarios, de los patriotas, será la misma suerte. Y de todos será la victoria. Patria o muerte, venceremos.
The hopes of mankind are concentrated in this room. The action we take may determine the future of civilization.
I have taken the necessary steps to deploy our forces to be in a position to make effective the quarantine at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Greenwich time.
A la 1:45 de la tarde, el secretario general interino de las Naciones Unidas, U Thant, invitado por el primer ministro Fidel Castro, para discutir sobre la crisis internacional planteada por el bloqueo naval impuesto por el gobierno de los Estados Unidos a Cuba. En las reuniones de la representación del gobierno revolucionario con la delegación de las Naciones Unidas presidida por U Thant, Cuba fija con claridad su posición ratificando los 5 puntos de la declaración del primer ministro Fidel Castro. No existirán las garantías de que habla el presidente Kennedy contra una agresión a Cuba si, además de la eliminación del bloqueo naval que promete, no se adoptan, entre otras, las siguientes medidas.
Ao longo da semana seguinte, Kennedy e Khrushchev trocam correspondência, exigindo mutuamente um recuo. O ponto de viragem na crise surge a 27 de outubro. O presidente Kennedy compromete-se a não invadir Cuba, propondo-se também retirar os mísseis na Turquia, se Khrushchev fizer o mesmo em Cuba. Um dia depois, Khrushchev aceita a proposta sem consultar Castro. Fidel fica furioso por ter sido afastado da negociação.
We will not, of course, abandon the political, economic, and other efforts of this hemisphere to halt subversion from Cuba, nor our purpose and hope that the Cuban people shall someday be truly free.
Apesar de Kennedy declarar que Castro tem de libertar realmente o seu povo, os anos passam sem qualquer alteração.
Cuba is separated from the United States by 90 miles of ocean and 15 years of history. Geographically near, Cuba ideologically forms part of another world. Fidel Castro is its one familiar figure. Dynamic, eloquent, authoritarian. He's a man who could legitimately be regarded as either a hero or as a tyrant, or as both at the same time.
It had been 2 years since our last visit to Cuba. What we found new were a marginal increase in the living standard, with signs that this might get better still, a growing reliance on the Soviet Union as a model in all things economic. What we didn't find were any indication of a relaxation ideologically. This regime is based on mass mobilization and thought control. Outside the framework of Marxism, Leninism, freedom of thought just doesn't exist. It's an unwanted relic of the past.
What would you like Americans to know about you and Cuba? And could you possibly say it in English so they could understand?
In English. I am not well in English.
Well, could then in Spanish?
Good wish for the people of the United States.
Good wishes.
Wish of understanding. Wish of friendship. I understand it is not easy because we belong to two different worlds. We are neighbors. And in one way or another, we ought to live in peace. United States and Cuba.
Embora Castro esteja fortemente implantado no poder, são divulgados relatos dos persistentes esforços norte-americanos para o eliminar.
Senator George McGovern, who recently visited Cuba, told a news conference today that Fidel Castro believed the CIA had been involved in a series of plots on his life.
Over a period of several years in the early 60s, congressional investigators determined there were at least 8 CIA-led attempts to kill Fidel Castro.
Quando Castro ascendeu ao poder, fez 2 promessas fundamentais: melhorar os sistemas de educação e saúde no país. O governo revolucionário criou 10.000 novas salas de aula e as escolas são melhores sob a liderança de Castro. E apesar da falta de suprimentos, os médicos cubanos estão entre os melhores do mundo.
And finally this evening, what we might call Medicuba, the story of what happened to an intrepid correspondent of ours, Fred Francis, when he went to Cuba to cover a political event and ended up with a medical event of his own.
Jalisco Garcia Hospital in Havana has one of the busiest emergency rooms in this hemisphere. It handles more than 700 patients a day. Only a handful of American hospitals like Bellevue in New York and Cook County in Chicago care for that many patients each day. And the quality of care here is very good. It is also free of charge. All health care for Cuba's 9.5 million people is free. I had to be rushed to the emergency room one morning. I was suffering with severe burning abdominal pain in my left side. I was in the hospital 2 days, and I could see evidence of the American economic blockade everywhere. Much of the equipment was old. This X-ray machine, used in a urogram test to locate my kidney stones, was rusted. There is also a shortage of basic hospital tools like needles, syringes, and even bedpans. I received good care and good drugs, in fact, American drugs. Medicines from the United States cost a lot more here because Cuba must get them through Canada and Mexico to circumvent the blockade.
É para Castro um ponto de honra enviar pessoal médico para países aliados de tendência esquerdista em todo o mundo. Contudo, não é só médicos que Fidel exporta, mas também soldados e armas de guerra. Castro decide expandir a sua máquina revolucionária para o exterior.
Sobre la cuestión acerca de si la lucha armada es el único camino para la liberación, lo que puedo responder es que, por lo menos en las condiciones de nuestro país, no había otro camino. Y en nuestra opinión,
en las condiciones de la inmensa mayoría de los países de América Latina, no hay otro camino que la lucha armada. Y esa parece ser la situación también en muchos otros países de Asia y de África.
Castro mantém a sua palavra. Envia tropas cubanas em auxílio de um grupo de revolucionários que luta pelo controle de Angola, o MPLA.
By the most authoritative estimates, Cuba sent 18,000 troops to Angola. This army looks well equipped. It has new Russian weapons, amphibious tanks, and modern SAM missile launchers.
A Guerra Civil de Angola começa em 1975, depois daquela ex-província ultramarina declarar a independência face a Portugal. A luta entre duas fações rebeldes opostas converte-se numa espécie de para-raios da Guerra Fria. Os Estados Unidos e a África do Sul apoiam o FNLA, a Frente Nacional de Libertação de Angola. A União Soviética e Cuba enviam tropas e abastecimentos para o MPLA. O envolvimento de Castro na guerra enfurece os Estados Unidos, que o veem como um meio de exportar a sua versão particular de comunismo. Castro diz que enviar tropas cubanas para ajudar o MPLA, alinhado com as crenças socialistas de Fidel, é o seu dever como revolucionário.
Cuando se produce la invasión de Angola por tropas regulares de África del Sur, no podíamos cruzarnos de brazos. Y cuando el MPLA solicitó nuestra ayuda, le ofrecimos la ayuda necesaria.
No final dos anos 70, há quem diga que a sua inflexibilidade começa a abrandar.
Cuba's Fidel Castro has often been described as a man too ambitious for too small a country, a revolutionary, not a statesman, a man many Latin American leaders feared. But now some political analysts say an older, more moderate Castro may be trying to change that image.
Em 1980, como forma de aliviar a agitação política, Castro permite que os cubanos que desejem abandonar o país o façam sem entraves. A economia de Cuba enfrenta graves dificuldades. As tensões estão ao rubro. Receando a repressão económica e política de Castro, dezenas de milhares de cubanos fogem para os Estados Unidos. Uma ação que ficou conhecida por Êxodo de Mariel.
Some 2 miles off the coast of Cuba, this is what you see. A single-file procession of boats extending for miles on their way to the port of Mariel. The Cuban port of Mariel is jammed with ships of all sizes. At latest count, 1,300 boats have arrived here.
These are the people the Castro government has called worms, bums, prostitutes, and parasites. What they do seem to be is a very happy people, happy to be leaving the country of their birth for a new start in the United States.
Revolucionario, quien no tenga sangre revolucionaria, quien no tenga una mente que se adapte a la idea de una revolución, quien no tenga un corazón que se adapte al esfuerzo y al heroísmo de una revolución, no los queremos, no los necesitamos.
No espaço de poucos meses, 125 mil cubanos emigraram para os Estados Unidos. A ponte marítima tornou-se um pesadelo político nos Estados Unidos, com muitos americanos profundamente agastados pela chegada incessante dos cubanos de Castro. Muitos pensam que Fidel está a limpar as prisões e a enviar criminosos para a Flórida. No final de outubro de 1980, Castro fecha o porto de Mariel a barcos oriundos da América. Em contrapartida, o governo dos Estados Unidos proíbe o desembarque de mais imigrantes cubanos. O fim da ponte marítima ocorre 5 dias antes de Ronald Reagan ser eleito presidente. Durante o seu mandato, Ronald Reagan sobe o tom verbal relativamente a Fidel Castro.
Over the past few weeks, Fidel Castro has been making anti-American speeches and staging anti-American rallies as he celebrates 25 years in power. Last night, it was President Reagan's turn to mark the anniversary of the Cuban Revolution.
The most important question remains, where is Cuba heading? Cuba's economy is incapable of providing you and your families your most elementary needs, despite massive subsidies from abroad. But your leaders tell you, don't complain, don't expect improvement.
just be ready for more sacrifice. But why are your leaders so unwilling to let you hear what others think and say? If the power of truth is on their side, why should they need to censor anyone's views?
Your system, which you say works very well, it does presuppose that the leadership of the country, you, are always right, that you are infallible. Is that not so?
No, it does not presuppose that. You will not see a statue of me anywhere, nor a school with my name, nor a street, nor a little town, nor any type of personality cult. We have always been honest. We have always told them the truth. This people know that from the government, a lie has never been told to them. And I ask you to go to the world, tour the world, and go to the United States and ask if they can say what I can say, that I have never told a lie to the people.
But what if they do disagree with the revolution and they're Cuban? Why can't they stay here and voice their opinion?
We accept opposition within the revolution, not against the revolution. No one forces them to stay.
Maria Shriver é a sobrinha do ex-presidente John Kennedy e tem um interesse especial em entrevistar Castro.
Back in the early 60s, there were reports of many assassination plots against you. There are theories that you knew about these assassination plots, that you held President Kennedy responsible, and that you in turn were involved in his assassination. Did you have anything to do with it?
I can't answer that question. I don't accept that. No, that I cannot accept such a charge. To plan an action against the President of the United States is something irresponsible, mad. Because I saw in Kennedy an adversary, an intelligent, a capable one. The day when Kennedy was murdered, I felt something empty. Actually, it hurt me. I must tell you very honestly, because I thought it was an unfair death.
Ao longo do final dos anos 80, Fidel continua a desafiar o governo americano, afirmando que, apesar do embargo, a sua revolução continua bem e de boa saúde em Cuba.
In his speech, Castro told a huge audience that the American embargo of Cuba had caused hardship, but was ultimately good, because it demanded that Cubans become self-reliant. But self-reliant is not self-sufficient.
Ao fim de 3 décadas de governo castrista, a ilha permanece maniatada pelo embargo norte-americano, cujo fim não está à vista. No dia 26 de dezembro de 1991, Cuba sofre mais um duríssimo revés. A União Soviética colapsa. Grande parte da economia cubana assenta no comércio bilateral e no auxílio soviético. Sem esse influxo de capital, Castro tem agora de liderar o povo durante um dos períodos mais sombrios da história nacional. Muitos desesperam e arriscam a vida em embarcações improvisadas para fugir à Cuba de Fidel. Castro chama a isto o período especial.
Estamos en periodo especial, un periodo difícil, un periodo uno de los más difíciles de nuestra historia. ¿Por qué? Porque no hemos tenido que quedar solos frente al imperio, solitos. ¿Y qué hacía falta para quedarse solo frente al imperio? Había falta unidad, pero hacía falta valor, hacía falta patriotismo, habría falta espíritu revolucionario. Un pueblo débil, un pueblo blandengue, un pueblo cobarde se rinde y vuelve a la esclavitud. Pero un pueblo digno, un pueblo valiente como nosotros no se rinde y no vuelve jamás a la esclavitud.
Apesar das terríveis dificuldades económicas internas, no exterior do país, Castro continua a ser visto como um líder mundial. Em 1995, desloca-se a Nova Iorque para o 50º aniversário das Nações Unidas.
I interviewed you first in 1960 when you were here, Mr. President. And what happened? What happened to democracy? What happened to free elections?
We discovered other formulas of democracy, and we discovered different formula, a more honest formula to have the people participate. We discovered that it was better than the Americans. What?
Como fez noutras ocasiões, Castro usa o indiscutível carisma para conquistar até os seus mais severos críticos. Todavia, não há qualquer abrandamento da tensão nas relações políticas entre os Estados Unidos e Castro. Um caça da Força Aérea Cubana abate 2 aparelhos civis um ano após a visita de Fidel Castro aos Estados Unidos. O líder alega que os aparelhos tinham violado o espaço aéreo cubano. Os aviões eram oriundos dos Estados Unidos. Aos comandos dos aparelhos, 4 pilotos pertencentes a uma organização denominada Brothers to the Rescue. O grupo dá assistência a cubanos que fogem do país por barco. Os 4 pilotos morrem na operação.
Just 4 days after Cuba shot the 2 U.S. civilian planes out of the sky, Congress and the President came to terms on the new steps against Cuba. The bill aims to economically strangle Castro by discouraging all foreign investment in Cuba.
It will send a powerful, unified message from the United States to Havana that the yearning of the Cuban people for freedom must not be denied.
As sanções adicionais contra Cuba incluem o direito dos Estados Unidos de interromper as relações comerciais com qualquer empresa não americana que mantenha negócios com Havana, forçando as empresas a escolher trabalhar com Castro ou com os Estados Unidos. 3 anos depois, a batalha entre Castro e os norte-americanos evolui para uma inesperada guerra de palavras. Desta vez pela custódia de um refugiado de 6 anos de idade chamado Elian Gonzalez.
The boy was found floating in an inner tube off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. Friday, the bodies of 2 women were found off Fort Pierce in Jupiter, Florida, including the boy's mother.
6-year-old Elian Gonzalez now poses an international custody dilemma. Here he is playing with cousins in Miami, following the Immigration and Naturalization Service's pronouncement that he can stay in the United States legally with his aunt and uncle. The boy's biological father lives in Cardenas, Cuba, and said on Cuban television over the weekend he wants Elian returned to him. His relatives in Miami do not plan to comply.
The boy remains a poster child for Cuban exiles. They've made him a mythical figure and a symbol of defiance against a communist regime. Fidel Castro has also made the boy a symbol, criticizing the U.S., as he says it, for kowtowing to the Cuban exile mafia.
Lo único que puedo decir es que si son medianamente inteligentes, anuncien la devolución del niño secuestrado por Estados Unidos.
Federal agents arrived 130 strong under the cover of darkness shortly after 5 a.m. The 6-year-old was found in a bedroom closet with one of the fishermen who had rescued the boy off the coast of Florida last November.
It is time for this little boy, who has been through so very much, to move on with life at his father's side.
Yo diría que hoy es un día de tregua, quizás el único en estos 41 años. Un día de tregua con Estados Unidos.
Quando George W. Bush sobe à presidência, em 2001, após uma eleição muito disputada com Al Gore, Castro não tarda em criticar a América pela forma como a consulta decorreu. Castro afirma que as eleições no seu país estão livres desse tipo de escândalo.
He was not elected, he was appointed President of the United States. Our elections are 10 times cleaner than the elections were like those in which he was elected. How can anyone talk about freedom of expression when a president needs $1.5 billion in advertising to sell an image of himself?
Today, there is only one nation in our hemisphere that is not a democracy. Only one.
O presidente George Bush apela a eleições livres em Cuba como meio de aligeirar o embargo dos Estados Unidos.
There's only one national leader whose position of power owes more to bullets than balance. Fidel Castro has a chance to escape this lonely and stagnant isolation. If he accepts our offer, he can bring help to his people and hope to our relations. And the choice rests with Mr. Castro.
Castro diz que o embargo se baseia tão só na política dos Estados Unidos e que a maioria dos americanos quer que ele termine. Receia, porém, que o levantamento do embargo cria um diferente tipo de catástrofe no seu país.
Let me know in advance so I can move away, because an invasion of hundreds of thousands of American citizens is enough to make us move away.
Em julho de 2006, Castro é sujeito a uma intervenção cirúrgica devido a sangramento intestinal. Os cubanos são notificados da doença de Castro através de um anúncio feito pelo seu secretário, Carlos Valenciaga, que leu uma carta redigida por Castro.
La operación me obliga a permanecer varias semanas de reposo, alejado de mis responsabilidades y cargos. Como nuestro país se encuentra amenazado en circunstancias como esta por el gobierno de los Estados Unidos, he tomado la siguiente decisión. Delego, con carácter provisional, mis funciones como primer secretario en el segundo secretario, compañero Raúl Castro Ruz.
2 anos depois, em 2008, Castro abdica oficialmente do poder, entregando a presidência do país ao irmão Raúl.
Raúl Castro Ruz.
O presidente americano George Bush está no Ruanda quando sabe da notícia.
So I view this as a period of transition and it should be the beginning of the democratic transition for the people in Cuba.
Apesar da esperança de Bush numa Cuba democrática, quando Raúl Castro toma as rédeas do poder, jura manter viva e dinâmica a visão de Fidel para Cuba. O país manter-se-á comunista. Raúl Castro afirmou: a revolução existe há 50 anos e continuará por mais 50. Para aqueles que acreditam na revolução de Fidel, ele será sempre o pai da nação. O seu combate na Sierra Maestra faz parte do imaginário cubano.
Batista does not want to admit that he is incapable of defeating us.
O carisma e complexidade que mostrou desde os primeiros anos no poder nunca claudicaram.
E sabemos como devemos defender nossa integridade e nossa soberania.
Ao longo de 5 décadas, Fidel Castro desafiou sempre os Estados Unidos.
Despite all his tools of oppression, Fidel Castro will need to answer to his people.
What kind of government would you establish? Would you be president?
We will establish a real representative and democratic government. I don't think in being president. I am not fighting for that, nor for any other charge. I cannot answer you about myself because I don't think about that.